Okay, today we're going to talk about understanding subtraction with decimals. So the first thing we'll look at is a model of what the subtraction looks like. Then we'll look at the standard algorithm, which is the way we're used to doing it most commonly. But first we're going to look at what that actually would look like with a picture. So we start off in the ones place, and then we have a tens place, and then a hundreds place, and a thousands place. And what I want to do is draw a picture of this first number, and then I can show my subtraction. So I have 7 in the ones place. I can represent that with dots. I don't have anything in the tens place. I don't have anything in the hundreds place. And I have a 5 in the thousands place. And I'm actually missing a 0 up here. So now what I want to do, trying to get a different color. See if that's a different color. Yes, it is. So what I want to do now is I want to subtract this or take this away. So if I go over all the way over to the right, I always start my subtraction as far over to the right as possible. So I want to take 2 away from that 5. I'm going to take 2 thousandths. I'm not taking any hundredths, so I can just skip that. I'm not taking any tenths, but I'm taking 2 ones away. So I go to my ones column, take 2 away. And now I can count up what I have left. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones left. Okay, 0 tenths, 0 hundredths, and 3 thousandths. So my answer would be 5 and 3 thousandths. Now we're going to look at what that would look like with the regrouping, because the regrouping looks a little different. So I'm going to draw my place value chart. So I have a ones place, a tenths place, a hundredths place. Okay, and when I go over here, anytime I see a number that is written in unit form, expanded form, any other way than standard form, before I work with that number, it's a great idea to just go ahead and put that number in standard form. So we know 83 tenths looks like that. And I just like to convert it, and that way I'm not confused.
Plus
so
251 is here. 251.
In this case, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to draw the first number in my chart. So I have 8 ones, so I'm going to put 8 into my chart. And I have 3 tenths. 2, 3. Ooh, let me get the eraser. I got a little carried away there. So that shows 8 and 3 tenths, or 83 tenths. Now I want to take away this number here, which is 6 and 4 tenths. I can see if I start at the tenths column, there aren't 4 tenths for me to take away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these ones and I'm going to move it over to this column. And watch what happens. If I have 1 whole, that's the same thing as 10 tenths. And the children are familiar with that. That 1 whole is the same thing as 10 tenths. 10 tenths looks like that. So when I go into the tenths column, instead of putting a 1 now, I'm putting 10. So now I can go and do my subtraction. See, let's use the highlighter. So I want to take away 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pieces are taken away. And if I go into the other column, I want to take away 6 pieces now. This piece was already moved, so it's no longer there. So I'm going to take away 6 more. And that will leave me with 1. I have 1 left over. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Maybe some way, please walk to the lobby.
So when I have this over here, that would be my regrouping when I went over to the one next door and brought it over. And we'll see that in some problems in just a minute. So this is the standard algorithm. The standard algorithm is the way that we've always taught subtraction. And the most important thing that you want to tell your children to do, or if you're a child watching this video, the most important thing is to line up your decimal. If you don't line up your decimal, it can make your problem confusing. If I look at this one here, sometimes the children will do that, and we don't want to do that because now we have something in the thousands place lined up with something in the hundreds place. So you want to make sure you line up that decimal, and that will make the rest of your problem correct as long as you do the math correct. So for this, I can't take 2 away from 1. I have to go next door, get one of those 10s, and I'm going to put the 10 there. Now I have 11. 11 minus 2 will give me 9. Now I can't take 9 from 3, so I'm going to borrow 1 from this guy next door. That's going to become a 7, and I have 13. 13 minus 9.
We have 258 here. Bus 258.
7 minus 2 is 5. And then I want to make sure that I insert my decimal back in. This one right here I want to show you because there is a couple of zeros and there's a little trick for that. So I can easily take I can easily take 0 from 3 because there's nothing to take. My 3 comes down. This is where it gets tricky. My 9, I can't take it out of 0. If I go next door, I can't take it from that guy either because there's nothing there. So I'm going to grab that guy, keep walking, and group it until I find a digit. And the first digit I find is 4. So when I group that together, that becomes 40. 40, if I take 1, is going to become 39. And that one is going to go over there to my tens place. So now I have 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 2 is 7. Carry my decimal down. 3 minus 1 is 2. And we'll look at just a couple of homework problems so you can see what the homework looks like, and then we're all set. Pick the laptop up, or that thing up and show this. So for these ones, the children have seen the numbers more commonly expressed this way in class. You can see at the top, they are expressed in what we would call unit form. So if the children are able to do that, keeping it in unit form, this is 9/10 plus 3/10. Some of them won't even need to do the conversions. They'll know that that's 6/10. If they're mixed up by that, a good trick is to just write it in standard form. 9/10 minus 3/10 is 6/10. And then they can go back and convert and see 6/10. These get a little more confusing. 9 ones, okay? And then they say 2,000, so I got to get the 2 in the thousands place, minus 3 ones. If I subtract that, that will give me 6 ones, and then I have my 2,000s left over. And again, if your child's stuck on that, or if you're a child watching this and you're stuck, just go ahead and convert them into standard form. Standard algorithm, again, they're just asking you to set that number up the way we've always done in the vertical fashion, and then complete it and write the answer. On the back, they're giving it to you again in unit form. The easiest way to do that if you're stuck is to write it out in standard form first. So 30/10 looks like that. 300 minus 3/10 is 30, and 3/10. So now I know what my numbers look like. I can more easily set up my subtraction problem.
We have bus 236
One of the
here.
things
Bus
we talked
236.
about
All buses have been called.
is trying to
Get out and
subtract
enjoy the
here.
sunshine.
A blank space is the same thing as a 0. I just want to make sure I put that decimal there. So this one, 5. 5 is already in standard form. Minus 16/10. 16/10 looks like that. So I have 5. There's my decimal. Minus 16/10. I would put zeros here so you can subtract. And that's what that would look like.